Hello there, and welcome once again to Silent Footsteps, a quiet place where we wander gently, without hurry, without noise, into the mysteries of history, imagination, and time itself. Where are you right now? Perhaps lying in sun bed, the weight of the day slowly leaving you. Perhaps your eyes are already closing, drifting between thought and dream. Or maybe you're sitting quietly, listening, letting these words flow over you like the slow rhythm of waves against the shore. Tonight, we will ask a question older than maps, older than the names of places, older even than the stories carved in stone. We will ask, what if a lost civilization once ruled Antarctica? What if the white, frozen desert of the far south was not always as it is today? What if, beneath the miles of ice, beneath the silence of snow and wind, there are memories of a people forgotten, a world erased, a chapter of history torn away? Antarctica. A continent we rarely think about. A land of icebergs and endless snow. The coldest, driest and most silent place on Earth. To us it seems empty, untouched, pure. But is it possible that long before the ice, long before explorers in wooden ships traced its edges, there was something else here, something greater, something we cannot yet see? This is not a story of proof. We are not here to claim or to argue or to insist number. We are here to wonder, to let imagination wander into the white silence, to breathe in the mystery like the cold wind drifting over snow. So tonight, as you rest, as your heartbeat slows and your breathing softens, come with me. Come with me into the frozen world at the bottom of our planet. Come with me to a place where maps fade, where time erases its lines, where silence holds secrets. Let us whisper the question again. What if a lost civilization once ruled Antarctica? And as we walk together into this thought gently, without hurry, remember, we do not need to answer tonight. We only need to wonder. Because sometimes the most powerful journeys begin not with certainty, but with curiosity. And so, softly, quietly, and the journey begins. Close your eyes for a moment, if you wish, and imagine yourself standing at the edge of the world. The air is crisp, sharper than anything you have ever breathed. Each breath fills your chest like a glass of water drawn fresh from a mountain stream. The ground beneath your feet does not feel like Earth. It feels like eternity itself. White, endless, silent, Antarctica. A place where the sun can linger for months without setting, and then vanish for months without rising. A place where the horizon stretches in every direction, yet gives you nothing but silence in return. Listen, if you can, not to sound, but to the absence of sound. The wind may whisper across the snow, but it is not the same as the winds of cities or forests. It is older, slower. It carries no voices, no laughter, no footsteps, only itself. And in this vast silence, you begin to feel something unusual. The world feels lighter, as if time itself moves differently here. Seconds do not hurry, minutes do not crowd one another. Instead, time stretches wide and open, like the snowfields around you. The stars above Antarctica shine differently too. They burn sharper, clearer, as if the sky itself has been polished. The Southern Cross tilts overhead. The Milky Way spills like frozen light across the black dome. And below it, the continent sleeps, not dead, not lifeless, but dreaming. What lies beneath the ice? For miles below your feet, there are layers upon layers of snow compacted over thousands of years, pressing down into solid ice. And beneath that, rock, mountains, valleys, perhaps even rivers that flow in eternal darkness. Scientists call them subglacial lakes, hidden seas of liquid water trapped beneath the frozen weight. And water, wherever it gathers, always carries secrets. Now imagine yourself walking slowly across this land. Each step makes the soft crunch of snow. Each footprint disappears almost instantly as the wind drags thin sheets of white dust across the ground. It is as if the land refuses to remember you, as if it prefers to remain untouched, unnamed. Yet in the silence you cannot help but wonder, what if these winds are carrying whispers? What if the ice remembers more than it shows? What if beneath this frozen silence lie the ruins of something that once lived, once thrived, once ruled? The mind drifts. You picture stone pillars, now hidden under miles of snow. You imagine walls carved with signs, now buried and waiting. You see cities of light and music, long gone but never erased completely. The atmosphere of Antarctica invites this kind of wondering. Because it is not only cold, it is mysterious. It is not only empty, it is secretive. It hides more than it shows. And as you stand there breathing in the frozen air, listening to the stillness, you realise something. This land does not belong to us. It never has. It belongs to time. It belongs to silence. It belongs to whatever stories may still be sleeping beneath the ice. So tonight, as we begin our journey, let the silence of Antarctica surround you. Let the stillness sink into your heart, and let curiosity open quietly like the first star appearing in the night sky. Because we are not here to prove, we are not here to argue, we are here to wander together, gently, softly, without hurry. And in this quiet wandering, the question takes its shape once more. What if a lost civilization once ruled Antarctica? Imagine the Earth long ago, not as we know it now, but in ages past, when continents drifted slowly across oceans, when climates shifted like chapters in a story, and when entire landscapes were unrecognizable compared to today. Antarctica, the frozen desert of our time, was not always frozen. Scientists tell us that millions of years ago, this continent was warm, green, and alive. Forests covered its valleys, rivers cut through its mountains, animals roamed freely. Even fossils of ferns, trees, and even dinosaurs have been found buried deep within the ice. It is strange to think that beneath the most lifeless place on Earth lies evidence of a time when life thrived. But if life once flourished here, could people have once flourished too? Of course, mainstream history tells us that human civilization is young, that we began farming perhaps 10,000 years ago, that the first cities rose only around 6,000 years ago, and that Antarctica has been locked in ice for millions of years, long before humans even existed. Yet the human heart cannot help but wonder, because history as we know it is full of gaps. Civilizations rise, shine brightly, and then disappear, sometimes leaving behind only fragments of stone, sometimes nothing at all. How many cultures have been erased by floods, earthquakes, volcanoes, or the slow passage of time? How many are still hidden beneath deserts, jungles, and seas? And here, at the farthest edge of our planet, Antarctica tempts the imagination like no other place. Because so much of it remains unseen. The ice is too thick, the storms are too fierce. Only small parts of the land have ever been touched by human eyes. But history has always whispered hints. Consider for a moment the Peary Race map drawn in 1513 by an Ottoman admiral. It shows parts of the Americas, long before Europeans officially explored them. But even stranger, it appears to show the coastline of Antarctica, not covered in ice but bare and detailed. How could such a map exist? Unless someone somehow, long before the ice, charted those coasts. Was it luck? Was it imagination? Or was it memory? Passed down from a civilization older than we dare to admit. Then there are the legends. Stories whispered through time of great southern lands, of continents beneath the horizon. The Greeks spoke of terra australis incognita, the unknown southern land. Medieval sailors told tales of lands rich in mystery, waiting at the edge of maps. Could these be echoes of something once real? And let us not forget, Antarctica was only discovered by the modern explorers in the 19th century. Before that, it lived in myth, in rumour, in imagination, and perhaps in ancient memory too. Now let us shift our gaze. We look at other places once thought impossible. Think of Troy. For centuries, people believed it was only a story, a myth told by Homer, until one day the ruins were found. Or think of the Indus Valley, lost for thousands of years, buried under dust and sand, forgotten by time itself, until archaeologists uncovered its cities. Civilizations do not always leave behind stories we recognize. Sometimes they are erased. sometimes they are hidden, and sometimes they are buried beneath layers too deep for our eyes. From an Islamic reflection, the Quran reminds us that nations rise and fall and only Allah remains. The earth carries the traces of those who came before, but time erases their voices. It is a reminder of humility, that no matter how mighty, how advanced, how proud a people may be, the soil will one day cover them. So is it impossible that something once lived, once thrived, on the land we now call Antarctica? We do not claim it. We do not prove it. We only ask the question. And here, at the edge of known history, the question lingers softly. But still, what if? What if explorers did not discover Antarctica in the 1800s, but rediscovered it after ages of silence? What if the myths of southern lands were not imagination but memory? What if the Piri Reis map is more than coincidence? What if beneath the ice, beneath the silence, there are stones and stories waiting to be uncovered? And as we ask this, the ice seems to whisper back, the snow seems to shift, the silence seems to lean closer. Because the greatest mysteries of history are not always found in what we know, they are found in what we cannot yet see. And so we stand at the edge of the unknown, looking southward into the frozen silence, and asking quietly, gently, without hurry, what if a lost civilization once ruled Antarctica? But what if the silence of Antarctica is not emptiness but memory? What if the white sheets of snow are not barriers but veils? Veils hiding stories too fragile to be spoken, too ancient to be remembered clearly. The question rises again and again. It hovers like mist above frozen ground. It does not demand an answer. It only asks to be heard. What if a civilization once ruled Antarctica, not in the way we think of kingdoms with flags and armies, but in a way beyond our present imagination? Perhaps they lived in harmony with the land, shaping homes from stone and wood when the continent was still green. Perhaps they carved stories into rock faces, stories now buried under ice a mile thick. Perhaps they built ships that crossed waters no longer visible, connecting to other parts of the world we know only as fragments: Egypt, Mesopotamia, the Indus Valley. And still, across the quiet of time, the question lingers, what if? What if the myths of a southern paradise whispered by sailors and dreamers were faint echoes of something real? What if the ancients looked south not out of imagination but out of memory? Close your eyes for a moment. Picture a world not as it is, but as it might have been. The air warmer, the land green, alive with givens and forests, the night skies filled with constellations guiding travellers. And on this land, people, unknown to us, unrecorded in our histories, walking, working, singing. Is it impossible? Or is it simply forgotten? Think of what the ice conceals. Every year, glaciers shift and crack. Every year, strange shapes appear, dark lines in the snow, shadows beneath the ice, patterns that seem to hint at something unnatural. Are they tricks of the eye? Or are they hints of walls, of roads, of structures long gone? And still, across the quiet of time, the question lingers. What if? What if the great pyramids we see in Egypt, the ziggurats in Mesopotamia, the temples of forgotten lands, were not the first experiments in stone? What if the true beginnings of human architecture are still buried under the coldest place on Earth? Some say it cannot be. The ice has been here too long. Others whisper, but are we certain? Do we really know every chapter of the Earth's story? Because history is not a book with clean pages. It is a manuscript torn, burned, water-stained, rewritten, and erased. And the story we read today is only what survived. And still, across the quiet of time, the question lingers, what if? What if there was once a people who saw the stars more clearly than we do now? What if they mapped the Earth before ice covered its face? What if their knowledge slipped away, not through weakness, but through the turning of time, the shifting of climates, the rising of seas? Would we recognise them if we found their traces? Or would we dismiss them, calling them coincidence, illusion, accident? Perhaps that is why Antarctica waits in silence. It does not shout its secrets. It does not give them easily. It waits for patience, for humility, for the slow unfolding of wonder. And as we ask these questions, Softly, gently, we realize something. The act of asking itself is powerful because it reminds us that the world is larger than we know, that history is deeper than we believe, that memory is not only what is written in books, but what is whispered by mountains, rivers, seas, and even by ice. And so we ask again, not to answer, but to wonder, what if a lost civilization once ruled Antarctica? And still across the quiet of time the question lingers, what if? Close your eyes once more and let us begin to walk deeper into the silence. The night is calm. Above you the stars shine in their quiet watch. Beneath your feet the snow crunches softly. Each step feels like an entrance into another time. And then, imagine the ice shifting. Imagine it parting, not with thunder, but with a quiet sigh, revealing a doorway hidden for thousands of years. You step closer. The air from within is warmer, as if the earth itself still remembers a forgotten fire. You take a breath and then another, and you enter. Inside the walls are not ice, but stone. Stone-shaped, carved, smoothed, not by chance, but by hands. Hands that once belonged to a people we no longer remember. What if this is real? What if such chambers sleep beneath the ice, waiting? You run your hand along the cold surface. You feel grooves, patterns, symbols, not words you understand, but echoes of meaning. They tell stories you cannot read, but you feel them. And then, imagine walking further. A hallway stretches before you. Pillars rise like frozen trees, their tops hidden in shadow. The silence here is different. Not empty, but full of presence, as though you are not alone. And yet no one comes. Only the stones remain. But what if once these halls were filled with voices, children laughing, footsteps echoing, music rising into the night? What if fires burned in great hearths, warming the air, chasing away the cold in? What if life thrived here in a time we cannot now imagine? Picture a city not under ice but under sun. Buildings of stone and wood, markets filled with colours, spices, sounds, fishermen drawing nets from rivers that no longer exist, farmers tending fields where now there is only frozen wasteland, priests or scholars gazing at stars, mapping their patterns with precision that still humbles us today. And then the climate shifts. The skies grow colder. Snow begins to fall, not as a season, but as a destiny. The rivers freeze, the forests die. The people watch their worlds slowly disappear beneath endless white. What would they have done? Would they have left, carrying fragments of memory to other lands? Would they have adapted, burrowing deep into mountains, building hidden sanctuaries? Or would they have vanished, leaving only silence? And still, across the quiet of time, the question lingers. What if? You walk further through the imagined ruins. A vast chamber opens before you. At its centre stands something larger than life. A circle of stone, perhaps an observatory, perhaps a temple. Its shape speaks of knowledge, geometry, astronomy, a harmony between earth and sky. And you wonder, did they track the stars here long before telescopes? Did they follow the movements of the heavens, predicting the rhythms of time, of seasons, of ages? Did they see the coming of the ice, but lack the power to stop it? And then another thought comes. What if they left messages for us? Not in books or scrolls, which time destroys, but in stone, in alignments, in symbols too deep for the ice to erase. Perhaps even the peer erase map is not a mystery at all, but a fragment of knowledge handed down from them, copied, recopied, until only shadows remain. You keep walking. The halls grow narrower, then open again into what feels like a library. But here there are no books, no scrolls, instead rows of tablets, carved with lines and circles. Their meaning is lost to you, but their presence is undeniable. They are records of something once important. And then you realise, knowledge does not always vanish. It hides, it sleeps, it waits for those who are patient enough to ask. But what if humanity has already uncovered fragments of this without realising it? What if myths, legends, and sudden bursts of ancient knowledge are not accidents but memories surfacing? What if the wisdom of Egypt, Mesopotamia, and the Indus Valley was not born in isolation but carried from a land we no longer remember? And still, Across the quiet of time, the question lingers, what if? Now imagine leaving the chamber. You climb upward, through tunnels of stone until you emerge into light again. But this light is not modern. It is ancient. The ice is gone. The land is green. Forests spread across hills and valleys. Birds fly overhead. Rivers sparkle in the sunlight. You are no longer in Antarctica as you know it. You are in Antarctica as it might have been. And here a civilization thrives. You see children running across grass fields. You see farmers planting seeds. You see ships carved from wood, sails catching the wind. And in the distance you see towers rising, watchtowers, temples, or perhaps something greater. Their clothing is strange to your eyes, but it carries beauty, pattern, design. Their tools are not primitive. They are advanced in ways both familiar and foreign. They work with stone, with metal, with wood, but they also work with the heavens, aligning their lives with the stars. And then you realise you are not only imagining, you are remembering something you never lived. Memory flows through the earth itself, and in this moment you are touching it. But what if this is true? What if humanity has lived many lives, many chapters, not all of which survived the turning of ages? What if Antarctica holds one of those chapters, waiting quietly beneath its white shroud, and still, across the quiet of time, the question lingers, what if? But now let us consider something else. What if not all was lost? What if some of those people left their home before the ice swallowed it, carrying their knowledge to faraway lands? Would that not explain sudden appearances of civilization in unexpected places? Would that not explain why so many cultures, separated by oceans, share myths of floods, of lost lands, of great teachers who came from afar? And then, think of Atlantis, a name whispered for centuries, a story told by Plato of a land lost beneath the sea. Could it be that Atlantis was not in the Atlantic at all, but far to the south, in a land now buried beneath ice? What if Antarctica itself is the true Atlantis, its ruins preserved, its memory scattered, its story waiting to be uncovered? We do not know, we cannot prove, but still we wonder, because history like ice hides as much as it reveals. And so, in this deep exploration, we have walked through imagined halls, through lost forests, through green lands and frozen silence. We have touched stone, listened to whispers, and watched a civilization live and vanish. It may only be imagination, but imagination too has power. It awakens curiosity. It keeps the mind alive. It allows us to honour the mysteries of the earth with humility, with wonder. And still, across the quiet of time, the question lingers, what if a lost civilization once ruled Antarctica? We have wandered now through the silence of Antarctica. We have touched its imagined halls, seen its forests, and felt the weight of its mysteries. But to truly understand its place in our wonder, we must look outward, across the world, across time, across civilizations. Because history does not exist in isolation. It is a river with many branches, flowing in countless directions, yet always connected. Think for a moment of Egypt. The pyramids rising from the desert sands, massive, precise, enduring. Even today, we do not fully understand how they were built, or why their design aligned so perfectly with the stars. Could their knowledge have come only from themselves, or was it perhaps carried from somewhere else, from a memory older than Egypt itself? And then Mesopotamia, the land between rivers. Here writing was born, cities rose, laws were carved in stone. But even in their myths, there are stories of floods, of lands lost, of knowledge given by mysterious teachers. Could those myths be faint echoes of travellers who fled from another home long ago? The Indus Valley too, with its advanced city planning, its drains and wells, its script we still cannot read. A civilization so advanced, yet suddenly gone, its story interrupted, like a book with missing pages. Could its wisdom be connected, however faintly, to something beyond, something we no longer see? And across the ocean in the Andes of South America, great stones cut with impossible precision, walls fitted so tightly that not even a blade can slip between them. Legends there also speak of ancient teachers, beings who came from elsewhere, carrying knowledge of the heavens. Is it possible, just possible, that all of these are scattered fragments of a single forgotten root? Not proof, not certainty, but whispers. And when whispers are heard across the world, one cannot help but wonder where they began. One of the most curious patterns in ancient civilizations is their devotion to the sky. Everywhere we look, the stars are present. In pyramids, in temples, in stone circles, in myths. The heavens were not only light to them, but language. What if this shared knowledge came from a time before separation? What if when Antarctica was green, its people looked at the stars, mapped them, and carried that wisdom outward as they spread across the earth? Astronomy is one of humanity's oldest sciences, and yet it feels more like memory than invention. As if we did not create it, but recall it. As if the stars have always spoken, and we have only remembered the words. Science, too, whispers curiosity about Antarctica. Geologists have found traces of ancient forests beneath the ice. Biologists have discovered life in the strangest places, even in frozen lakes sealed for millions of years. And satellite images sometimes reveal patterns beneath the snow that seem too straight, too ordered, too unnatural. Archaeologists remind us that most of human history is missing, that what we know is only a fraction, a surface. For every city discovered, dozens remain lost. For every text we read, countless more have been erased. So when we wonder about Antarctica, we are not denying science. We are honouring it, acknowledging that knowledge is never complete, that discovery is always ongoing, that mystery is part of truth. And here, let us pause for a moment of humility. For as the Quran reminds us, how many were the nations we destroyed before you? They were mightier than you in strength, and they travelled through the land, yet could they find any refuge from their fate? History humbles us. Civilizations rise, they flourish, they build wonders, they leave legacies, but nothing lasts forever. The earth covers their traces, time silences their voices, and only Allah remains. If Antarctica once held a people, they too are subject to this truth. No matter their greatness, no matter their knowledge, they could not escape the turning of ages. Their memory may live in whispers, in ruins, in myths, but their lives passed as all lives do. And so the mystery does not only belong to them, it belongs to us as well, because one day our own cities, our own names, may also fade into silence. And so, as you lie here listening, as your breath slows, as the night deepens, remember this. You too are part of this flow of time. You're connected not only to your present, but to all who came before. Your heartbeat carries the same rhythm as theirs. Your breath rises beneath the same stars they once watched. Your life is a moment in the same story. Antarctica reminds us of this. Its silence is not only about the past, it is about the present too. It whispers, everything passes, everything changes, everything is written and then erased. And in that whisper, we are humbled, but we are also inspired, because curiosity itself is timeless. The desire to ask, to wonder, to imagine, that belongs to every age, and tonight it belongs to you. So what if Antarctica is not only ice? What if it is a mirror, reflecting the rise and fall of all civilizations? What if its silence is not emptiness, but reminder? And still, across the quiet of time, the question lingers, what if a lost civilization once ruled Antarctica? We have wandered through snow and silence. We have imagined halls of stone, forests long vanished, people who may have lived and dreamed beneath the ice. We have asked the great question again and again, what if a lost civilization once ruled Antarctica? But now, as the night deepens and your breath slows, let us pause. Let us return gently, softly, to the present moment. Because the true gift of wondering is not in the answers, it is in the reflections it awakens inside us. What lesson do we take from this quiet journey? Perhaps the first is humility, for history shows us that nothing lasts forever. Great cities rise and one day they fall. Powerful empires stretch across continents, and one day they vanish. The voices of millions echo across the ages, but eventually they fade into silence. If Antarctica once held a civilization, it too was humbled by time, by nature, by the will of the Creator. And so we are reminded, our own age, our own towers and machines and cities are not eternal either. They too will pass. The Quran tells us, "Every soul shall taste death, and to us shall you be returned." History humbles us, but it also softens us. It whispers that our pride must be tempered with humility, our arrogance replaced with gratitude, our fleeting days filled with meaning. Perhaps the second lesson is curiosity, the desire to ask, to wonder, to imagine. When we gaze at Antarctica, silent and white, we do not only see emptiness, we see possibility. We ask questions no book has yet answered, and in asking we become more alive. Curiosity is not weakness, it is a strength. It connects us to every seeker who came before us. The traveller who crossed deserts, the sailor who braved storms, the scholar who read by candlelight, all of them were moved by the same quiet question. What lies beyond? And tonight, you too share in that question. You too are part of this eternal curiosity. And perhaps the third lesson is this: life is short. We may dream of great civilizations, we may search for their ruins, we may tell their stories, but our own days are brief. The ice of Antarctica reminds us of this. Its silence is not only about the past, it is about the present. It says, do not waste your time. It says, live with awareness. It says, leave behind goodness, for one day your own footsteps will also be covered by snow. So, as you listen now, lying in your bed, breathing softly, drifting towards the rest, ask yourself, what lesson do I carry? Perhaps it is humility. Perhaps it is gratitude. Perhaps it is simply wonder. Whatever it is, let it settle in your heart like gentle snow, not heavy, not loud, just soft, quiet, present. Because tonight, as we have wandered through Antarctica's silence, we were not searching for proof. We were searching for reflection. We were searching for a way to connect to time, to history, to ourselves, and ultimately to the Creator who holds all stories in his knowledge. And so, even after all our reflections, after all our journeys, one truth remains: we do not know. We do not know if a lost civilization once ruled Antarctica. We do not know what lies beneath the ices. We do not know the full story of the earth. But perhaps we do not need to know. Perhaps it is enough to wonder, to be humbled, to reflect. And still, across the quiet of time, the question lingers. What if? And now let us return fully to stillness. The snow falls silently, the stars shine gently, the earth turns slowly, carrying you, carrying all of us, through the endless night. Let your breath become calm, let your thoughts soften, let your heart rest. For tonight you have walked through mysteries, you have touched the edge of forgotten worlds. You have remembered that life is short, that time is vast, that only Allah remains, and in that remembrance there is peace. And now, our journey together comes to a close. We have wandered through frozen landscapes of imagination. We have asked questions that echo softly in the night. We have wondered what stories may lie beneath the endless ice of Antarctica. And perhaps, as you listen now, your body is calm, your eyes grow heavy, your breath moves slowly, gently, like the tide of a quiet ocean. Let your thoughts now drift down like snowflakes falling on silent ground. Each thought softer, each moment quieter. All the images we explored tonight, ancient halls, green forests long vanished, stars over white horizons, they do not need to remain sharp in your memory. They can dissolve gently into the quiet. For the purpose of this journey was never to hold tightly. It was only to wander, to feel wonder, and to rest. And now the snow settles, and so too may you settle into rest. And yet, even as you drift, a small spark of curiosity may remain. Not a restless spark, but a gentle one, like a lantern glowing far away. It whispers, very softly, what if the truth still waits, somewhere beneath the ice? What if one day when the snow melts, when time decides, something will be revealed, and perhaps you will carry that whisper with you, not loudly, not urgently, but quietly, like a secret melody in the heart. because curiosity is not only for waking hours, it can travel with you into dreams. And now, let us pause together for gratitude. Gratitude for time itself, gratitude for the chance to sit, to listen, to imagine. Gratitude for the quiet reminder that all things rise and fall, but meaning endures. Gratitude that tonight, even for a little while, you walked not only through history, but through silence, through stillness, through reflection. For every listener is also a traveller, and every traveller leaves gentle footprints, even if they are only in the snow of imagination. And now, return to yourself, return to your breath. Feel the air enter and leave softly, naturally. Let the weight of your body sink deeper into the bed. Let your shoulders release their burdens. Let your hands and feet rest like stones at the bottom of a calm river. The night carries you. The earth itself carries you. The Creator watches over you, and nothing more is required. And still, even here, even now, the question lingers. What if? What if the world is deeper than we know? What if the stories of the past still wait in silence? What if truth is not gone but only hidden, waiting for the right moment to return? These are not questions to keep you awake. They are questions to carry gently into your rest. Let them float away like clouds. Let them dissolve into the night sky. And when you wake, perhaps you will remember only a shadow of them. Or perhaps you will wake with a softer smile, wondering once more, what if a lost civilization once ruled Antarctica? And so, with warmth and peace, I thank you for walking this path with me tonight. If this gentle journey has brought you calm, if it has given you rest, if it has awakened even the smallest spark of wonder, then our purpose together has been fulfilled. And if you wish, you may join again another night, for there are many mysteries yet to wander through, many questions yet to ask softly, many quiet paths yet to walk. So if you would like, you may subscribe or share, so that we may continue these journeys together. But for now, let us simply rest. And now, let the sand of your thoughts settle after a long day's wind. Let the snow of your imagination fall, covering all restlessness in soft white silence. Let your mind drift, your body soften, your spirit rest. For the night is wide and peace is near, and you are safe. Good night, traveller. Rest well, dream gently, and perhaps, when you wake, you may still wonder, what if?